So to take us on a tour of the Internet of Things at home, please welcome the Executive Director of the Home and Premium Services at Telstra, John Chambers.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be here, and I just wanted to start as well by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Pay my respects to their elders past and present, and any Indigenous people here today. I'd like to pay my respects to you as well. So I do have the brief for the home, the Internet of Things at home. My name's John Chambers. I look after a number of things at Telstra. Previous lives, I've looked after the mobiles division and fixed broadband and home phone, and the last 6 months or so I've been in the growth or new business area of Telstra, looking after the smart home platform that we're about to launch, as well as our big data platforms and how we're going to commercialise those, along with our smart cities strategy. So a number of areas coming together in the growth areas of Telstra, which is quite exciting, probably the most exciting job I've had at Telstra, a lot of fun. I've called this one Jetsons or Justified, because when you look at when I talk to people about what I'm doing, and you know, it takes a few minutes at the barbecue to explain what this whole smart home thing is to most Aussies, at the end of it they go, "That's awesome, I want one, it sounds like the Jetsons." And it kind of does, but where I leave that going is for me the transformation of what needs to happen around home IoT is it's a lot more than just fun, and even a lot more than convenience. It actually gets to a place where it's absolutely necessary, where it's absolutely justified. When I look at what I'm doing in my home and the value and the utility that this connectedness of things in the home is creating, I can't see how I could live without it. That's my goal for home IoT, so hence the way we've called it. So just quickly define how I think about home IoT. It's effectively the connected network of sensors and networks, low power networks usually, analytics, applications and services that are provided into the home and all the potential experiences that come from that. And in Telstra that interweaves with car, that interweaves with enterprise, interweaves with smart cities and industrial in a variety of different ways. When you look at the analysis of the market going out sort of 5 to 10 years, the McKinseys and so, they'll tend to say home's a smaller chunk, maybe 20% of the overall market, with a lot in transportation, a lot in industrial, and I think that's a reasonable assessment. My job, my hope is to actually blow that out and help make the home market accelerate a lot faster than people are predicting through really simplifying and bringing great offerings to market, but also up the overall value of it because the utility is far greater than we even imagine now. That said, I'm quite worried. I'm quite worried about the home market because I'm just making sure my walking mic's working. Can you guys hear me? Get away from the lectern. Better? I'm worried about it because there are so many missteps that we could take on that journey. There are so many ways that it could be slowed down, that investment could stall, that consumers could get worried. And I was going to do a quick test. Can everyone just hold their phones up? Let's just see if this works. Hey Siri. See if anyone gets one. Anyone get a hit? Do it again. Okay, Google. No hits? Oh, got one. Okay, so that's just one. And they're fairly they're fairly tuned AI instruments, right? But then you think about America right now, you could walk to a window and go, "Alexa, open the door." Alexa is not a tuned AI instrument, and you would get a lot of doors opening in the US right now. And that's how, as this stuff rolls out, this is going to get quite interesting because those missteps, one person gets robbed because of that situation, one person's smart camera gets hacked and those hacks are occurring. It slows down trust, it slows down belief in the ecosystem. So we have to be really careful as it rolls out. And that's the way Telstra are thinking about it. So when we think about the platforms that we're building, we're thinking to the future. We're thinking very much to the 5 to 10 year horizon and then building the platforms that are going to support those future use cases. So I think it's a good place to start. What I'll do is I'll start with a little bit of how we're thinking about some of the big utility vectors for the future. I'll talk a little bit about the market and how we see that evolving and the size and shape of that, and then quickly touch on Telstra's smart home platform, which is effectively the basis of our home IoT that will roll through security, energy, health, car, and a variety of sectors in the years to come. So where will it all end? We just played a little bit with voice and AI. I'm utterly convinced that voice and AI is a huge, huge breakthrough in the home. While it's kind of cute on the phone for me, and I use it at times in the car, etc., at home it's just brilliant. It's to be able to turn the lights on, play music, turn the TV to Foxtel, all of that stuff. While it feels convenient, it actually becomes something that you get quite attached to. And then over the last week, we've been sitting in the homes of 12 disabled Australians working with our home platform and some of these tools. And it actually brings tears to your eyes when they realise that there are already technologies in place where they don't have to miss the front door anymore when a parcel's being delivered, and which means they have to get to the depot, which is half a day. When they realise they can be in bed and they've forgotten to turn the lights on and they can do it from the bed with their voice. When they realise that they can check the house from the bed without having to get up and maybe take 20 or 30 minutes to do a circuit. These things for us are kind of fun and can be kind of convenient. They're actually transformative in the lives of many Australians. And active ageing is, as been talked about already, another huge territory that we think things like voice and voice control are going to just be massive, massive breakthroughs. You think about disability, you think about the NDIS, $20 billion a year that the government is investing in bringing technology and services to the homes of disabled people. That investment, we think, will be well spent in great transformative home IoT platforms. Think about collaborative cities. So 2 stats I think about when I think about cities and homes. 30% of up to, depending on the utility you talk to, up to 30% of water wastage is wasted through leaks. A lot of that's in the utility networks, but a lot of that is in the home. And there are very simple, there may be startups here today, but very simple sensors coming out for a couple of $100 or less that put on any pipe in the home can sense water leaks within 5 minutes and call that up. It's a very simple way for homes and cities to connect to stop what's a major problem in many cities. 30% of traffic in cities, and as we all know, cities are getting bigger. More and more people are moving into cities globally. That phenomenon's not going to stop anytime soon, but congestion is a huge problem. 30% of that movement congestion, traffic congestion, on average, is people looking for a car park. The car parks are not getting any more numerous, but imagine a world where anyone in the city area with a simple camera and a sensor could offer their driveway as a car parking spot, and a very simple app to get them into that park to remove that congestion. These are potentially transformative ways that homes and cities can work together. Intelligent insurance, I think we already talked a little bit about insurance previously. We think this has a really long runway to play. My home right now, I have maybe 50 connected devices, but I could tell my insurance company or prove to my insurance company my risk levels are far lower than they're rating me at. I can prove that my doors and windows are always closed whenever a storm goes by. I can prove that whenever there's no presence in the home, everything's locked and closed up. I've got cameras and sensors to pick up and tell me if there's movement in other places. These are really, really important risk factors that are not factored into my insurance in any way. I reckon they're worth 20 to 30% of my premium, to be frank. And as yet, this isn't, the systems aren't in place to bring this to bear in the market, but I think that will be a big way that I'll be funding my smart home investments in the years ahead. Whole home energy management, batteries, I think have a little way to play out in terms of business cases. It's probably a 15 to 20 year payoff at the moment for a solar and battery set up in the home. But there are great startups coming with really near-term outcomes. There's one based out of Sydney that can basically put a tap on your line very inexpensively, a couple of $100 or less, pick up the energy signatures of the major appliances in your home within 3 or 4 days of machine learning, and then start to give you recommendations about when you should be turning those machines on and off to optimise your tariffs. That's probably my estimate of 5 to 15% energy saving for a $200 IoT device. So these are big future use cases that we need to make sure, in my view, that we build platforms that we can harness. One of the biggest risks we've got is that we've put a whole bunch of point stuff out there that don't connect together to bring these use cases to bear. That's a big risk. Great example for me, we lost our dog maybe 2 months ago. I had a whole bunch of devices. I came home from being at a party with my wife. My teenage girls had gone walking, as they do, and the dog's out. And I had a lot of data. I knew when the door opened. I knew when everyone left home. I had a lot of camera data about the dog getting out. What I didn't have was a connection that said everybody's left home and the door's open. Simple connectivity of 2 different sets of startup tech that I've got. If I had that, I immediately would have known we were in trouble and take action. And it's those connections that increasingly will make all the difference towards utility in the home. So what do we think about this means for the market? We see the market at the moment, and I'll show you a slide shortly with all the startups in the space, and it's fantastic. We need the startup investment. We need people to be thinking about these wonderful new experiences and use cases that transform the world. But we see a world coming that's moving much more towards stable platforms and simple interconnectedness for the mass market, not just the startup or the people in the early phase of take-up. Australia right now, while there's a lot of interest, we do a lot of research, a lot of interest in smart home and home automation and home security in Australia, less than 1% of homes have smart products in their home. In the US, with some big pushes from Amazon Echo and Nest, etc., at 7%. We're still very much, and I think it was said earlier today, in the early phase. What we need to do is start moving into the mass phase where this becomes something that works every time, works as designed, and is transforming and creating utility in every home. I was at Telstra as we walked through that dial-up to early broadband phase, and it felt quite similar. I think that was mentioned earlier as well. That a lot of noise, a lot of new stuff coming, partial service propositions, a whole variety of things. And then as it went to broadband and that broadband at dial-up prices phase, it really started to kick off. The utility was understood. I can shop on eBay, I can use Wikipedia. All these savings and utility became really clear for the average household, and the kick-off started to take off. And then now at a world where, back here, I still remember trying to talk customers into spending $15 on dial-up broadband. And now we're over here at a world where consumers are comfortable spending $60 to $100 because they really, really clearly see the utility. We see a similar journey. We'd love to be at the centre of that journey, of course, but there'll be many who are in the home IoT space. It's effectively a new network. There's a lot of great technology, and we think that technology will continue, but we think consumers will want platforms that they know are deeply secure end-to-end. You can't do the open my door from the Echo use case, but you can open your door. That are deeply secure, that are future-proof. So as you grow and your needs grow, the devices that you need to connect with will come into the ecosystem. And ultimately as well, to realise some of those use cases I talked about before, that you'll be able to have choices around your data. You'll be able to choose to give your data or expose your data to your insurance company, to your local council, in a very controlled way so that you can get utility from that data. We think that's a very important part, and we believe consumers will want to be on a very trusted platform to start to enter into that world. So we see the market maturing. We've put monthly spends in there because we kind of compare it to where consumers are going to save, but ultimately you think of devices and services put into a monthly run rate. That's a perspective on how we think this will grow as consumers start to really love the platform. So what does that all pan out to in terms of market size? There are a number of estimates, very, very broad. Telstra are quite bullish. We land somewhere in the 1 to 1.5 billion annualised revenue run rates in the home IoT market by 2020. What we do agree with Telstra on is that the device takeoff will be significant. So from about 11 today to somewhere in the order of 30 in the future. And what you don't want is 30 disconnected devices causing mayhem around your home. That's what we're pretty convinced about. So service layers, being able to really help people understand their technology and get the most of it, we think is going to be a critical part of how IoT develops in the home. Where will that come from? All, again, Telstra data, but all parts of the ecosystem, energy, security, lifestyle, connectivity, and services and installation will grow at very large rates. But interestingly, the smart lifestyle space, gardens, kitchens, appliances, lights, etc., is projected to grow the fastest. And partly because there's a natural connectedness that goes into many of those devices out of the box, and you see guys like Samsung will be just building it in, as well as installation and services as well. Very strong growth as people start to see the utility of getting this stuff into their homes. The startup map. So CB Insights put this out a couple of weeks ago. Incredible focus, incredible global investment from the VCs into this space, and you can look it up. But there is so much going on, and this is why we find this really exciting, but we find a real need for curation. The ability to help for the average Australian home take the best of everything as it evolves, bring it to a simple platform that Australians can interact with and get utility from without having to wrestle with the choice fatigue that will come from trying to understand something like that. So what's Telstra doing? We launched in June to the market, letting Australians know we were coming, and we spent some time at the Tech and Gadget Expo in Melbourne with our platform up and running. And the feedback was fabulous. We had really warm feedback from the thousands of people who came through, and quite excited. For many of them, this was new technology. Some had been waiting, but they were quite excited about what we were bringing. And effectively, we'll bring simple, low monthly rate solutions for home IoT. And as I said, this is a starting point, the beginning of a platform as we move into deeper security, health, and energy outcomes in the years and decades ahead. Every pack we'll launch with 2 key packs. The first is the watch and monitor. Every pack will come with a smart home hub. We use Zigbee, and our global provider is iControl. So we use the same core platform that Comcast, Rogers, Cox, Time Warner have been using for many years in the States. We're already millions of customers on this platform, very secure, never hacked, and that's been fundamental to us. And also years and years of development making it very, very much consumer ready. But every one will come with a simple Zigbee hub. In the watch and monitor pack, you'll get a camera. About half of Australians are really interested in a camera in the home. About half, particularly my wife, are very not interested, but that's up to each home to negotiate that. So we've made the 2 packs, and also with door and window sensors. So with a simple pack like this one, you'll be able to have a number of use cases, keeping watch on your pets, your kids, even your elderly parents, and some pretty strong security and detection, self-detection use cases available. With every plan we have, it's a 24-month plan, comes with 24/7 tech home support, and for the first 3 months we offer our free platinum support, which is our best techs available to make sure you get set up okay and you're really comfortable with your platform as you get going. All videos included. Many other platforms will charge you for your video clips, so you get all your clips stored for 30 days in the cloud and importantly stored in Australia. And you get also access, of course, to the app, which will bring everything you bring onto the platform will work seamlessly through your One Telstra app. The other pack that we'll be launching is the automation and energy kit. So again, the hub, door and window sensors, 2 smart plugs, and a motion detector. So again, simple use cases. As you leave home, turn off certain devices, make sure everything's out. Turn things on and off remotely. I love turning on the slow cooker on a Sunday morning when I finish my run and I'm out and about, or even turning on the heater from upstairs. So good, simple use cases that we think consumers will really like and enjoy, and our feedback, again, our research on these has been really strong. So where to from here for Telstra? When we launch, along with those 2 packs, you'll be able to buy additional devices. You'll have a Zen thermostat available, upfront or a monthly fee. We'll have a Lockwood, a NASA Abloy door lock, which is just fabulous. So I'm using it. Getting used to having that in the home has been quite transformative for my family, never having to worry about kids and keys anymore. But the use cases for Airbnb and the 2.5 million rental homes are just incredibly strong. So that door lock is fabulous, fully integrated into the system. We've got indoor and outdoor cameras. We've got Senglead globes at launch, and many more to come. So as we think about where to from here, the next sort of 5 to 12 months, we'll bring more lights onto the platform like Hue. We'll be bringing in garage controllers, air conditioning controllers, more health and energy use cases that are very simple for consumers to set up. Voice control, absolutely. So what we'll see is the platform evolving, particularly as our customers ask us to evolve it. So we'll start to publish our roadmaps online and let our customers help us guide to where they see the really important devices coming onto the platform are going to be. And of course, everything deeply certified as it lands onto the platform for end-to-end security. So that's the Telstra end-to-end story. I actually did manage to get 2 minutes spare, which was, I didn't think I would, but I've got there. So I was going to just see if there are any questions from the floor before I hand over.
Can you comment on the LTE-WAN implementation?
We are absolutely testing NB-IoT and working closely with Ericsson, our key partner, on that. So we're looking at a number of IoT options, but that's our preference at the moment. There's obviously a bit of a mismatch between network availability and device availability for the mass market, but we're working on our device ecosystem very rapidly, and we think the location of things is going to be a next very big play, obviously both in enterprise and the consumer space.
What about smart metering as well? Are you getting involved with that?
Well, we sort of work with the energy providers themselves. We're very supportive of it. I use it in my home and I think it's just fabulous. But we're not, as an enterprise service provider, we're working with our utility customers to help empower their roadmaps around smart metering. We'd like to see that absolutely lift because we see that interconnectedness of smart meters with the kind of devices we're talking about as being the connected ecosystem of energy management in the home, demand response management. But good questions, thank you. It was partly the maturity of Zigbee and iControl, and so Hugh, and there's a number of people on that roadmap. We're open to evolving the platform. So if a standard, as everyone knows, there is no home IoT standard. If Google win or whoever wins, we've built ourselves in such a way that we can pivot towards future protocols and standards and add them to the hubs in a pretty straightforward way. But we're finding Zigbee really robust, and the propagation properties are really good for the Australian home. So we chose it. I've probably got one more, and I think you. Stuart, thank you. We're not using it. So like many things with blockchain, it's fascinating technology. We think there are some really interesting future use cases, but it's quite a forklift to shift some of this stuff to it. At the moment, we've got a very secure platform, but we're very interested, working very closely with our CTO team who are here on how that might play out into future use cases. One more, thank you. No, you can use it. So I'm an ADSL. I get a reasonable speed, about 12 meg, and my uplink's only about 800K. I've got a smart doorbell, which works pretty well. That's probably the toughest use case, is things at the perimeter of the home that require an uplink. And my smart doorbell's about 90% effective, I'd say. There are sometimes the streams aren't as I'd like them. You'll see our platform start to extend as well to mobile use cases. So we're seeing a world with wireless cameras, with SIM cards on the perimeters of properties, all connecting back to the single system. So that's very important as well. So I might leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.